Hi, I'm Chris Cook from 3M. Welcome to 3M Tech Tips. In this episode, we're going to answer some of the most frequently asked questions relating to post-heating of vehicle wraps. Now, post-heating is an absolutely critical step in our wrap application. It's where we're heat treating the applied film to relieve a lot of the stress or the shape memory that gets put into the film wherever we've had to stretch it during the application, say down into recessed areas or around compound curves. Now, if we don't effectively post-heat, then that shape memory is going to tend to cause the film to shrink back to its original shape and cause it to pop out of recesses or start to pull back from around our edges. So let's look at 5 of the most frequently asked questions relating to the post-heating process. So question 1 is, where do I have to post-heat? And the simple answer is, we should be post-heating wherever the film was stretched during the application. So if you stretched it, you should post-heat it. If we look at this bonnet, for example, we can see that in the center section here, it's quite flat. We didn't really need to stretch the film to apply it in this area, so we don't really need to post-heat that. However, as we come out towards this edge, we can see that the panel folds down and also curves around in this direction. So we did actually have to conform the film to that compound curve. And because we've stretched it in that area, then we should be post-heating through that area. So the simple answer is, if you stretched it, you should post-heat it. Our second question is, what temperature do I have to post-heat to? Now, for all 3M wrap films, whether it be color change films or digital print films, the minimum post-heat temperature is 94 degrees Celsius. And that's a minimum of 94. When I'm post-heating, I'm normally aiming to get to around about 100, maybe between 100 to 110 degrees to make sure that I'm above that 94 degree minimum. Because if we don't reach 94 degrees Celsius, the post-heating's not going to be effective, and it's far more likely for your film to want to shrink. What that also means is that we should be measuring the film temperature as we're post-heating. We need to use an infrared thermometer to actually measure that film temperature as we post-heat to ensure we're getting above that 94 degree mark. Now, our next question actually relates to the previous one about temperature. That is, 94 degrees, that's pretty hot. Will post-heating damage either the wrap or the panel underneath? And no, correct post-heating temperature is not high enough to damage properly applied film or the factory paint finish. However, it certainly is possible to cause some damage if you get to excessive temperatures. So another reason why it's so important that we use the infrared thermometer to measure the surface temperature during post-heating. Now, regarding damaging the film, you could potentially damage it during post-heating if there's any trapped air left underneath the film. Because as you post-heat, that trapped air will expand and pop through the film. So it is a good idea before you post-heat to go over that area of film just with good firm pressure with a squeegee to ensure you're working out any trapped air bubbles. So our fourth question is, how quickly should I post-heat after finishing applying the film? And the answer here is, as soon as possible. The faster we post-heat, the sooner we're going to relieve that stress and give the film less time to start pulling back and start pulling the adhesive off the panel. So post-heat as soon as you can after finishing the application, within an hour or two. Our fifth and final question is, when I'm post-heating, can I heat and measure at the same time? Or should I heat and measure as 2 separate operations? I get this question because some installers are concerned that if you heat and measure at the same time, you're going to get incorrect temperature measurements because the thermometer is just reading the hot air coming out of your heat gun. these thermometers actually only measure surface temperatures. They don't measure air temperatures. You can actually demonstrate that by pointing the heat gun in the air like that, and then pointing the thermometer through the hot air stream. Now I'm measuring a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. What I'm actually measuring is the ceiling. So we can see quite clearly that the thermometer is just measuring the surface temperature. It's not actually measuring that hot air. So we can certainly heat and measure at the same time. And that's certainly my preference. One, because heating and measuring together, it is a bit faster. And also I can be more sure that I'm post-heating the entire surface and not missing any sections. One small tip here is that I find quite useful is when I'm post-heating to actually place my thumb holding the thermometer against the side of the heat gun so that I can move the two as a single unit, making sure that I'm always pointing the thermometer at the correct position and I'm not trying to sort of coordinate them as two separate objects. So there are some answers to 5 frequently asked questions about post-heating, a really critical step in our wrap process. So hopefully these are going to help you be successful with your own wrap installations. Anyway, as always, we're very interested to hear any questions or suggestions that you have, so please head over to our Facebook page and leave a comment there. The link is in the description below. But thanks for watching, and see you next time.